Label Planet's World of How To presents How to Work with Text and Images in Word Templates. Text and Images in Word. Word is a type of word processing software, which means its main purpose is dealing with words, or text. This means Word tends to prioritize text over everything else. This can make it trickier to include images in label templates. This video will look at the tools you can use to make it easier to work with text and images in label templates. There are three types of text in Word. Basic text, text that sits freely on the page or in a table, as in a template. Text box, text that sits within a box. Special effects can be applied to the text and the box. WordArt, text that sits as a self-contained item. Special effects can be applied to the item and its background. How to work with basic text in Word label templates. You can add basic text to Word label templates by typing into your template using your keyboard, or you can use copy and paste to add text from an external source. To edit text, first you need to select it. You can edit basic text using the font tools under the Home tab. You can choose a different font, change the font size, add emphasis, like bold, italic, underline, change the font color, and apply special effects. You can also edit text using the Table Tools Layout tab. Here you can change the alignment of your text. Remember that these tools need to be applied to the whole template, so you need to select your table first by clicking on the four-headed arrow. There are 9 alignment options. Take care when choosing an alignment. Some options will move your text to the edge of your labels, meaning your text may get cut off when you print your template. To keep text away from the edges, select the first column, and use the left indent and right indent to add a margin between your text and the edges of your labels. Repeat these steps for each column in your template. You can also change the direction of your text. This is useful if you want to use your labels in the opposite orientation, for example, to use these labels in their portrait orientation. How to work with text boxes in Word label templates. To add a text box, click on the Insert tab and select Text Box. We recommend Simple Text Box. You can edit text boxes using the tools listed under the Drawing Tools Shape Format tab. This tab only appears after you click on a text box. You can see and edit the size of your text box here. Or you can resize your text box using the round handles at the four corners and midpoints around your box. You can also rotate your text box if you prefer a jaunty angle. Notice what happens when we resize the box. Word pushes the box to the top of the label and resizes it from the top down, leaving a gap at the bottom. Word assumes you will want to add basic text to your label, and adds a blank line for this purpose. This is why you should always change the default wrap text format applied to text boxes. We recommend in front of text. If you want to layer a text box behind or in front of other items, you can use the Bring Forward and Send Backward tools under Arrange to layer items as needed. Once you change the wrap text format, you will have much better control over the position of your text box. To move a text box, you must place your cursor over one of the edges until it becomes a four-headed arrow. You can then click and drag your box to the correct position. Text boxes are rectangular by default. You can change their shape using the Edit Shape tool. For example, you could use the circle shape to tailor a text box to the shape of round labels or oval labels. You can add text to a text box by typing into the box using your keyboard, or by using copy and paste to add text from an external source. Use Align Text to control the vertical alignment of text boxes. Use Text Direction to change the direction of your text. For example, to use these labels in a portrait orientation. Change the color of the text using Text Fill and Text Outline. If you want the font to be in one color, you will need to set both options to the same color, or set Text Outline to no outline. Use Text Effects to apply special effects to the text. Transform is useful if you want your text to follow the shape of round or oval labels. Shape Fill changes the background color of your text box. Shape Outline changes the color of the border around your text box. Set these to no fill and no outline if you don't want your text box to have a colored background or border. You can also edit the text using the Home tab. Remember to select your text first. Use the font tools to change the font and font size. and to add emphasis, like bold, italic, underline. Use the paragraph tools to change the horizontal alignment of your text box. How to work with WordArt in Word label templates. To add WordArt, click on the Insert tab and select WordArt. You can edit WordArt using the tools listed under the Drawing Tools Shape Format tab. This tab only appears after you click on WordArt. You can see and edit the size of your WordArt here. Or you can resize your WordArt using the round handles at the four corners and midpoints around your text. You can also rotate your WordArt if you prefer a jaunty angle. To move WordArt, place your cursor over one of the edges until it becomes a four-headed arrow. You can then click and drag your WordArt to the correct position. Use bring forward and send backward to layer WordArt in front of or behind other items. Use text direction to change the direction of your text, for example, to use these labels in a portrait orientation. You can type in text, or use copy and paste. Use text fill and text outline to change the color of your WordArt. If you want the font to be in one color, you will need to set both options to the same color, or set text outline to no outline. Use text effects to apply special effects to the text. Transform is useful if you want the text to follow the shape of round or oval labels. You can use shape fill to add a background color or shape outline to add a border around your WordArt. You can also edit the text using the Home tab. Remember to select your text first. Use the font tools to change the font and font size, and to add emphasis, like bold, italic, underline. Use the paragraph tools to change the horizontal alignment of your WordArt. How to work with images in Word label templates. To add an image saved on your device, click on Insert, Pictures, and this device. Locate the folder where your image is saved. Select your image and click Insert. To add an image you have copied from somewhere else, we recommend pasting it into a blank document first. You can then copy and paste your image into your template. You can edit images using the tools listed under the Picture Tools Picture Format tab. This tab only appears after you click on an image. You can see and edit the size of your image here. Or you can resize your image using the round handles at the four corners and midpoints around your image. You can also crop images to remove unwanted areas. Use the cropping handles to crop an image. Crop to shape is useful if you need to crop an image to suit a different label shape, like round or oval labels. The most important thing to do is to change the default layout options applied to images. We recommend in front of text. You can also change this setting under wrap text. This option gives you much better control over the position of images. To move images, place your cursor over an image until it becomes a four-headed arrow. You can then click and drag the image to the correct position. Use bring forward and send backward to layer images in front of or behind other items. You can rotate your image if you prefer a jaunty angle. You can also rotate images left or right by 90 degrees or flip images vertically or horizontally. Flipping an image is useful if you want to make window stickers. You can use the Picture Styles tools to add a border or special effects. You can also edit images using the Adjust tools. Things to remember. Word prioritizes basic text and text-based items over everything else. To get the best control over the position of text and images, always change the wrap text or layout options to in front of text. If an item disappears behind another so you can't click on it, click on the Layout tab and choose Selection Pane. Selection Pane lists all of the items in your template and allows you to select each one individually. Thank you for watching.